So the other day I went to see the new Hidden Inventory movie in the cinemas, and it was a genuinely unreal experience. Normally when you go to the cinema, it's to see a movie that you've never seen before and you never know what's going to happen. But I went into this movie knowing exactly what was going to happen because obviously, as a big fan, I obsessively watch this 10 out of 10 peak fiction arc all the time. Going into the movie thinking I knew everything that was going to happen though really didn't subtract from my experience, and it made it hit so much harder when I saw all of the additional material, the bonus images, the bonus Juju Stroll at the beginning, and the little montage at the end, which was so emotional. Like, honestly, the dude to the right of me, oh, he was going through it at the end of the movie, and I don't blame him because it was really depressing, to be honest. Seeing the peak of Jujutsu Kaisen storytelling and animation and music, like on the big screen, surrounded by people who are all feeling the exact same way, is honestly just, it felt like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and that's exactly what I think it was. I mean, the only reason that I'm able to sit here now and do anime content creation as a job at the moment is because of Jujutsu Kaisen, so obviously I'm hella biased, alright? But despite my bias, which is definitely there, I really do think this movie was enjoyable for everyone. I know people were complaining that it's just a compilation, but seriously, I'm so glad they did it. Going into that theater, being surrounded by people, the whole experience, the way it flowed together, the additional scenes, all of it came together to make it well worth it. I was completely blown away. And it made me really feel for the people that didn't go and watch it who are big fans. So hopefully this video will kind of give you some insight into what it was like. And will hopefully, well, my aim is to describe to you all of the new scenes, the additional content and all of that in great detail. And watching it just made me appreciate the arc as it is even more than I already did, which I didn't think was possible, to be honest. Now, was these collection of episodes worth the families that a certain animation studio allegedly held hostage to make? Probably not, but my glaze knows no bounds, even morality, so I am gonna still glaze it anyway. I think the animators deserve that, right? Like, they put the time in. Right then, before I, start yapping on about the experience, though, I am just gonna go ahead and tell you guys all about the additional material, because I know that's what you're here for, I know that's what you want to know about. I can't show a lot of it, because Shueisha has been, like, I'm talking, they've been giving out, like, penalties, like, real legal penalties for showing this stuff before it's actually out on demand, so I'm steering clear of that, but I am going to tell you as much as I can, and maybe show one or two things if I can see if I can get away with it. But yeah, from the second the first episode of Hidden Inventory begins, right until the last second of the final episode, everything is completely one-to-one. It's exactly the same. The transitions between episodes are actually really well done. It's very difficult to find the actual breaking point. It flows incredibly well as a movie. It has incredible pacing. It really does work as a movie. I'm kind of surprised they didn't release it like that initially, to be honest. It really works well. But before the movie actually began, we were surprised by a Juju Stroll. If you don't remember, Juju Stroll is the little end credit scenes you get at the end of season 1. And instead of showing the little chibi Sukuna in a hot tub, they show Toji instead, which is a nice little detail. But the actual, Juju Stroll itself is genuinely really funny. It's great. It's very wholesome, and it's surprisingly accurate to the characters that are in it, especially if you're familiar with the characters, because at least in the theater I was in, a lot of people hadn't actually seen all of JJK. Their friends had kind of dragged them along and been like, hey, let's watch this, and then you'll really see why I go on about JJK so much. But yeah, so if you knew the characters, it meant a lot. And it was basically Gojo, Geto, and Shoko in an empty movie theater, or a cinema as I would call it, because I'm British. They were all sat there, Geto had popcorn, and there was this nice little interaction where Geto threw some popcorn at Gojo, and he blocks it with infinity. Gojo then complained that Geto didn't buy any caramel popcorn, because if you are a real fan of JJK, you'll know that Gojo has a major sweet tooth, he likes sweet stuff. And Geto complained that it was because Gojo refused to help pay for any of the stuff that they got. Which is funny because Gojo is super mega loaded. Shoko then kind of goes on a little rant. You know when she explains reverse curse technique? She does that. Instead, she's explaining the chemical composition of popcorn or I don't know. You're not meant to understand it. It's just a load of gibberish. Yeah, and then a guy walks in behind them and sits down in one of the last rows who I think was Toji, but it was quite hard to tell. And then something happens, like Gojo and Geto are kind of having a little squabble, a little back and forth, and then Gojo ends up firing something and it hits the dude at the back who dies? I don't know. If it was Toji, then W foreshadowing. I'm just going to say it right now. You spoiled the movie for everyone. Good job. But yeah, this whole scene served as a, when cinemas play the turn your phones off and shut the fuck up kind of thing at the beginning of the movie. it was basically them telling us to put our phones away and be quiet. And then right as the movie was about to start, all three of them kind of lock in, and you see Gojo take off his glasses, which are obviously fully blacked out glasses. He takes them off and sits there to enjoy the movie, you know, kind of letting his guard down, ironically, which is strangely in character. Like, it's really accurate to his character, and I think it's my favorite detail about the Juju Stroll. It was a really good character interaction moment for something so stupid, like, you know, the turn your phone off warning for a cinema. It's like, why didn't Gege put more of this in the actual story, you know? But that was really good. And then, yeah, so all of that kind of happens. The NPC falls over or dies because Gojo shoots something at him. I don't know. It's just a great interaction. And then, of course, the movie plays 1-to-1. I'll get into that in a second. But then at the end of the movie, that's when everyone was sobbing, I'll be honest. And me too. Like, it was, I had tears. It was really very sad. So yeah, after experiencing, you know, absolute peak while laughing, gasping, and yes, crying with the rest of the audience, we finally reach the end of the movie where Gojo wakes up from his dream and, you know, is greeted by Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara. Seen it all before, makes me cry every time. It's really very sad, I love it. But no one seemed to be expecting after this scene though, and I definitely wasn't, that's for sure, was to hear the full version of the opening, Where Our Blue Is, or Ao no Sumika, I believe in Japanese. It started playing behind a montage of dozens of, and I mean so many, new visuals that were created to look like pictures taken by the cast during their school days at Jujutsu High. It felt very real. Some of them actually looked so real that they were, it seemed like the backgrounds were live action and that they'd been rotoscoped in. I don't think they were, I think they were all drawn, but it was very convincing. I can't, yeah, like I said, I can't really show them all because the movie's not on demand yet and I will get probably nuked by Shueisha. But yeah, we saw goofy images of the likes of Gojo, Geto, Shoko, Nanami, Haibara, Yaga, Epstein, and Utahime getting on with their lives. My favorite one of them was them all sitting around having Christmas dinner together. So wholesome. And again, it makes me really sad that we didn't get more of these world-building character interaction moments within Jujutsu Kaisen, because I love the Jujutsu Kaisen cast so much. Just seeing these images like was enough to make everyone in the cinema cry. But yeah, the other pictures were like them studying. Some were them going on field trips where they looked like they were staying in a hotel together, sat in like pajamas or casual clothes on a bed. There was ones of like Gojo with his head down, falling asleep, trying to study, sleeping next to Geto. Geto like with his maths book out. Literally, you can see all the calculations and stuff with this weird camera angle. It's great. Shoko kind of sat alone. You see some of like even Nanami smiles in like the second image they showed. It was Gojo, Haibara, and Nanami's actually smiling, which is like proper smile, not like a. Do you know what I mean? Which was really, that kind of took me, but I was like, is that really Nanami? But yeah, and then we see them on doing like sports days. They're in like full football kits, or as Americans would say, soccer. Doing sport and stuff, just kind of getting on with their life, you know, no curses to be seen, no jujutsu was used at all, it was all just normal. You'd think they were just normal school kids, which is, again, it was all very wholesome. They were all very happy images, but obviously after showing it at the end of the movie, after what had just happened, it was very depressing to see, right? Especially with the music, because oh my god, I love that music. And then at one point, the music stops. It kind of, the song seems to end, and we freeze on this still image of the sky, and everyone thinks, oh, so the movie's over, wow, and we're all like sniveling and stuff. But the lights don't come on in the cinema, and then the beat drops, and the music gets louder, and we start going again at a much faster pace, and this time we're showing, like, literally, it will show an image for 5 frames and goes to the next one, but we're blitzing through this montage of so many, I mean, dozens and dozens of images that were, like, just kind of thrown at us. I can't even remember all of them, there were so many. You'd have to go and look up the images yourself, or go and see the movie. I mean, I don't think it's airing anymore, but when it comes out on demand, hopefully you'll be able to see it. Some really great stuff. Yeah, there was just so many, but the final one was of the main trio of Gojo, Geto, and Shoko, walking much farther apart than they normally would, with Geto kind of staring off into the distance, looking very depressed. And that was the last image, and the movie ended, and the lights came on, and the mood was so grim. No one got up to leave, everyone just kind of sat in silence for about 30 seconds. The guy, like, to the right of us was, you know, wiping tears away. Everyone was kind of sniffling, and I don't blame them. It was really sad. It was actually just really depressing. It left you feeling completely empty. Yeah, I just, lots of sniffing, lots of tears. Very wholesome, very sad. But like I said, seeing a movie in theaters just amplifies everything about the experience. So all of the emotions you would normally feel watching Hidden Inventory, they were just pushed to the max, which was, it was great. It was really, really great. But yeah, that's about it in terms of bonus content, but even if there was no bonus content at all, I'll be honest, I still think I would have enjoyed every single minute of it, knowing exactly what's going to happen. When the movie releases globally, you know, they tend to not have many screenings. It will show maybe for 1 or 2 days, doing 2 to 3 screenings a day, so you really don't have a big window to go see it. But yeah, I'm really glad I did, because it felt like a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it was. I don't think they'll show it again at any point. Having no external distractions, you know, having a big screen, the speakers are great, loads of people around you experiencing the same thing. It just made the whole arc 10 times better. You can appreciate all the writing, all the emotional moments, those iconic scenes like the Honored One. Oh my god, seeing the Honored One pose and the Hollow Purple in cinemas was like unreal. It's crazy. There was one guy behind us who obviously he dragged his friend in who hadn't seen Jujutsu Kaisen before, and when Toji stabbed Gojo in the head, you could hear his friend going, he's dead, right? He's dead, right? And his mates were gaslighting him, going like, yeah, he's dead, trust. But yeah, it was really just a great experience. The main thing that stood out to me, like I said, was the music. I'm a sucker for music in anime. It's my favorite part about it, and I think the Hidden Inventory OST, especially that opening, is 10 out of 10. It's amazing. The only downside to the movie was that during Gojo and Geto's defeat at the hands of Toji, they did censor the injuries for a few seconds by turning everything black and white, but I don't really think that took away from the experience of the movie, to be honest. Overall, it was a 10 out of 10 experience. It was an 11 out of 10 experience, I'll be honest, and yes, it's glazed, but it makes me really excited to go watch Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man in theaters. And if you're a fan of those shows and umming and ahhing about like whether you want to go watch them in theaters or just wait for them to come out, having experienced that, I would really recommend you go watch them. It's a really just amazing experience. But yeah, that was my viewing and review of the Jujutsu Kaisen Hidden Inventory movie. 10 out of 10. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the membership options. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit.